Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today. And now let's begin. Hello, my gorgeous souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Manifestation Babe podcast. Today, I am bringing to you another special student success story with a very powerful and gifted healer, Missy Toy Ozeas. Missy is someone who came into MBA originally wanting to create 10K months, those coveted 10K months in her healing business, but she had a hard time really owning those gifts, those spiritual healing gifts that she had. She felt embarrassed that friends and family would see her as too woo-woo, and so she kept getting stuck at a financial plateau. Missy also struggled with the uptick in racism towards Asian Americans that happened as a result of the COVID pandemic as a Chinese American, and realized that she also wanted to hide because of who she was and the ancestral pain that she was feeling. After finding MBA, not only did she finally manifest those 10K months as a result of MBA, but she also healed her fear of wanting to hide and play small, and continues to grow her successful healing practice. Fun fact, I've actually had an energy reading with Missy, and I cannot say enough incredible things about her and her ability to tune into exactly what it is that I needed to release and let go of. So hear all about Missy's incredible story and experience inside of the Manifestation Babe Academy in this episode. And as you are listening, remember, there are only a few days left to get inside of MBA. You can find all the deets and that sign up button by going to manifestationbabe.com/MBA. Again, that's manifestationbabe.com/MBA. You can also find the link in the show notes as well. Okay, let's dive into this interview. All right, Missy, welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast show. I'm super excited to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yay. So just remind me for just a second, you were in the January round of the Manifestation Babe Academy, like the first round of this iteration, right? Amazing. Yes. Well, before we get into like where you were before the program, you know, and your journey throughout the program that I cannot wait to hear from you. Can you just kind of share a little bit about yourself? Like, what is it that you do? Any of your background or anything else that you want to share with us?
So I am an energy healer and a transformation guide.
Amazing.
And I help people, especially empaths and highly sensitive people, transform their lives by clearing energetic blocks. So their trapped emotions, their limiting beliefs, their thoughts, or, you know, basically other people's energy that we carry in our field, because all of our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, they have weight, and we can actually find them. They live in very specific places in our bodies, in our fields. We can find them and then release them so that you can feel calm and empowered. And I like to say, I am basically the release phase of MBA. That's what I realized.
That's amazing. Well, you're my favorite kind of people. I love energy people. I'm just so curious. How did you get into this? Like, how did you discover your gift? Because this is not something like you go to school for, or like in 5th grade, your teacher says, you know what, Missy, maybe you should become like an energy healer or something. You should look at people's energy fields and pull out things that don't serve them. Like, how the hell did you get into this?
Yeah. So this is kind of crazy. So I went to college because I really wanted to be in film and TV. So I actually did that. So I went to college for that, and I worked in TV production for years. and I loved it. So that was a great thing, but I felt this calling to do something more. And basically one day at work, a director came and he said, "Hey, Missy, it's time for you to move up and I'm going to help you." And that's like a great opportunity. But like, instead, like what came out of my mouth was no. And I was like, oh, that was kind of rude, but I guess that's really what I think. So I kind of went back to my meditation practice and I said, if this is my no, then what's my yes? That's really important.
Okay, that's a really good question. Oh my God. Any of you listening right now, like if you have something in your life that is out of alignment and you just know it's a no, ask yourself that question. Like ask your guides, the universe, whoever you believe in, to show you what is your yes. I'm going to use that from now on. That's amazing.
Yes. Okay. And then though, have the patience to wait. But just be patient, because what happened is every day I would ask that question and say, show me who I am. That was my question. So I would ask in the morning, I would ask at night. And then literally I had to wait 4 months. And then I heard right here, like in my ear, I'm not kidding you, I heard a voice and it said, "You are a healer." And I was like, oh my God, what is that? Right? Because I didn't actually grow up that way. I didn't that was very woo-woo for me. Like I come from a very practical family. None of my friends are into it. I didn't grow up with that. So I thought that's pretty out there. I don't really know if I can go with this. So I ignored it, even though I could feel it very deeply in my body. When you hear your intuition, it's like a full body thing. Mm-hmm. And I could feel it was different, but it was so out of the realm of my belief system that I couldn't accept it. So I kept working for a couple more months, and then we went on hiatus with my TV show. And let me back up for a second. So when I heard I'm a healer, I actually then started delving into some podcasts. So I came across a podcast by this energy healer. And she was like this normal, I would say normal. She was like a mom, just like me. She was like somebody we'd have lunch with, like very normal. And she went through her whole story about becoming an energy healer. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I didn't even know there's such a thing. And then she said she was opening the doors to her course. So then I went online and it was like a couple $1,000s. And at the time I was like, okay, I don't know if I really want to make that investment. It might be too out there for me. So I didn't do it. So then when I went on hiatus, something in my intuition said, go check out our website again. So I did. And it said the doors were closed and I was kind of bummed out. So I emailed her and I said, oh, hey, just checking when are the doors open and how much is it again? And she got back to me right away. And she said, I will gift you the course for free as long as you pay it forward. So how can I not?
Of course. That's like a very obvious, duh, I'm in.
Yeah. So super excited. So that set me off on my journey of learning and training, and that just changed my life.
Wow.
And really she just said practice. So literally I would just practice. And then I somehow met a woman who owns a talent agency. And she said, can you work with all my actors? And I said, sure. And this was for free. So I just did that. And then literally a month later, I said, I'm going to start charging. And then on that day, I got my first paying client, and then I really haven't done, I just kept going.
That's amazing. You know what I love about your story, Missy? For you becoming an energy healer, I have been told so often by many, many different psychics and very talented people. Actually, I'm pretty sure I shared this on the podcast, but I'll share it again just because it's so related to this. My mom booked a reading with this very popular psychic that of course I've never heard of, but apparently she's very, very popular in England. And of course I don't remember her name right now, but I'll do my best to remember. And she was very popular among celebrities in LA, and she travels to LA to go see the celebs, right? So my mom somehow gets in her calendar and she books me in because she knows that I would like that. And she didn't even ask me. She was just like, hey, you have an appointment January 21st, at this time. Go to this hotel in person. And I went there and she started reading me in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And she looks at me and she's like, I don't understand why you're here. And I'm like, because I want a reading because it's fun for me. You know what I mean? I'm here to get a reading. And she's like, no, I understand that. That's obvious, but you are just as powerful, if not more powerful of a psychic than I am. And I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about, woman? And she was like, here, read me. And of course, when you put when you put your intuitive abilities on the spot, like they don't really work as well. You like tense up and you close up right away. So I'm like, and she's like asking me questions. She's like, how many kids do I have? What does my son do? Whatever. Like, and somehow I picked up on like how her son is actually not alive anymore, but this is what he used to do. And like, I got a lot of things right. But what's interesting is that I've been told this so many times, and I would ask these psychics, I'm like, listen, I don't understand because I don't see this gift in me. And they're like, Catherine, you have to practice it. You have to train it. It's something that's trained. And I was always under the impression that this is something, because I would always hear a lot of talented psychics, energy readers, energy healers, that they would wake up with this gift at like 4 or 5 years old, right? And ever since then, it would just like be something that just switched. And I would always think like, no, but I missed that moment because I don't remember having those moments as a kid. And of course, I have a lot of trauma as a kid, so I don't have many memories at all. So I don't even remember, did I have those experiences or not? And what I love about you, Missy, is that you're such an example of like, yeah, absolutely. This is something that so many of us have, if not everyone, but it needs to be trained and practiced. It's like any other skill or habit. Like you can't just, wake up one day and be like, okay, let's turn it on. For many of us, it's like, we need to practice it. We need to put it into play. It's something that needs to be developed like a real skill. So I just appreciate that. And I love that. And it really normalized that for me. So I'm excited to keep training that for myself.
Yeah. And you're right. We all have these gifts. And I really actually believe that we all have spiritual gifts. And that's like one of the fun things that I like about my job is I can help people uncover their spiritual gifts. And that's really the point of all of this is, what are our gifts and how can we share them with the world? Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about MBA. I know we'll get into it more, but that helps us uncover our gifts. And that's the point, I think, to me. That's how we change the world.
Right. So let's get into MBA. Can you just kind of paint a picture of like, all right, we understand what it is that you do, but like what made you go, I need some help, like, or, like this program looks very interesting. And obviously there's a reason for you to get inside because you don't just like wake up and you're like, I need to sign up for MBA. So I'm just curious, like, what was that thing for you that made you go, okay, I need this program in my life?
Well, at the time I was straddling my 2 careers. And so I really wanted to grow my business, but I hadn't given up TV yet. So at the time I started MBA, I was straddling the 2 careers and I was really tired. And even though I had a lot of clients, word of mouth, and it was amazing, I was still putting in long hours in TV. And also I was afraid of losing my health insurance because I have health insurance for my whole family. I've always been the one to get health insurance. Yeah. So I thought, okay, how can I grow my business? And I thought it was the health insurance was stopping me, but no, cut to MBA helped me realize there was a lot of other stuff under there. And even though I'm an energy healer, it's like, you need help.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I will tell you, I'm always hiring people. I'm like, help me. I don't see my own shit.
Totally. And actually, I did a fun thing. I looked back on when I think I started at MBA, I think it was February, or that's what my journal said, February 2021. Mm-hmm. And I looked back and I made in my business $3,749. That was that month. And my goal was at 10K months. That was what I was going for. That's what I wanted. But was it possible for me? I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know what was blocking me. So that's why I wanted to join.
I love that you have that written down. That is perfect. So what was it like? When did you start to notice a shift in the program? Like, what was it that helped you unlock the thing that was holding you back from your future 10K months?
So one of my favorite things that I learned at MBA, was the mirror neurons and how everything that comes up in our lives is a trigger and it's a wound. So, and I see that too, is whatever's triggering us is some kind of wound that we need to look at. So what actually was coming up in the spring of 2021 was there were a lot of Asian American hate crimes, and I'm Asian American. And so that was super triggering. I mean, of course it's triggering, but I kind of had to look at what that was showing me. And I had to do a lot of deep work. And it was also coming up right during the release phase. So it was tons of ancestral stuff. It was my own hiding. So what it was I found is hiding. So hiding in a lot of ways. So hiding. So it came up, you know, like what I look like, that there's times maybe in my own life where I felt like I had to try to fit in or try to hide.
Yeah.
But even deeper than that, it was my gifts, because my gifts are really unusual. And as a 3-year-old, like I saw my grandma after she died, and I remember very distinctly the faces of my mom and my aunties when I told them that. They were kind of like, what? Freaking out. And I think I learned at that age, oh, it's not acceptable. Like to be able to see energy, to see ghosts or anything like that is not acceptable. So I kind of shut it down. And so it makes sense. By the time I got to the release phase, I was really dealing with hiding, and it was hiding my gifts and talents, and was coming up with identity that was blocking the growth of my business. I mean, it makes sense now, but I didn't see it as clearly until I went through MBA.
Yeah. I mean, those are huge, huge things for you to uncover and to unlock. I know that racism is a huge, huge block for people in really showing up because they don't feel safe to be their authentic selves. And then also to add to that, now we live in a society that is very like logic, 3D, like there is no energy, there is no this. And so that's like a whole nother level to you being like, okay, there's 2 things now that are preventing me from really being my authentic self. And my shaman, actually, he was raised in a Catholic family. And he used to have, like we call him in Russian, we call him ikona, which is like icons of Mary, icons of Jesus, right? So he would look at them on the walls, and his mom would like constantly be praying to them. And he would at the same time be talking to them, like the actual spirit of like Mary and Jesus. And the mom is like, who are you talking to? And he's like, I'm talking to them. And he's pointing. And she's like, but you can't, they are dead. And he goes, Mom, they are not dead. They're standing right here. And I just like, it's always so interesting, like these gifted kids, like what families that they get put in with, like the families that they choose. It's to really put themselves through this like school of like this curriculum of really owning who they are. And if you have to go through your family, like looking at you weird and not accepting you and all these things, and you're really, when you come out of that, like when you heal that, you're going to be unfuckwithable. I mean, truly, you're going to be unfuckwithable. And I always tell people who struggle with like family issues, it's like, remember, you chose your family. And as soon as you uncover what is the thing that's really going to help you be your true authentic self, even in the face of your family, like no one in the world can fuck you up. Like you are really going to be unstoppable. So that is a beautiful lesson to learn.
I mean, I was hiding. I wasn't really even talking to my family about, I had all these amazing clients, and I was really kind of down. I was putting on the down low. I wasn't really even talking to my family or my friends about it. So how could I possibly grow my business if I wasn't even owning it? I mean, it was ridiculous.
At what point did you start owning your gifts? Like what were like some of the tools that really spoke to you? Was it just like sometimes it's just like an energetic shift. I know when I take like courses or programs or work with coaches, like sometimes it's like one sentence that they say will like put an implant in my soul, and it like triggers me to just fully release that and embody like a different version of myself. And then sometimes it's a specific like journaling prompt, or it's a breathwork session or something like that. Like what was it for you that really helped you not just uncover it, but really start to own your gifts?
Well, 2 things. So the breath work. So I had done breath work before, and I was kind of like, I don't know, didn't really do anything but in your breath work. And I was the lobster claw thing and the I was crying and crying. I thought, okay, wait, I'm not even sad. Like, what is this? But it was so crazy. It was like a full body. I can't even explain it. So the breath work, honestly, I can't explain. It was so amazing. But the second thing I would say, the shift was that I got support. And that's what started showing up to me is support. And actually, okay, so I found out that a lot of my blocks were ancestral, not a lot of it, but some of my blocks were ancestral. Yeah. And so I got this download that I need to see a shaman, but it had to be a woman and an Asian shaman. So I was like, well, how's that going to work? So, I sort of started Googling, I don't know, like, how do I find this? I don't know. Also, I'm a generator, so I'm not really supposed to be like finding it right that way. Yeah. I'm responding. So, okay, this is crazy because where she came, where I found her was in MBA because she was an MBA student, current student. Wow. So that's the great thing is that you can find support in MBA from not just from you and your team, but from each other. So Sherry is her name, and she was MBA in my same group. And so I worked with her and she helped me unlock some things that had happened. Actually, that wasn't even ancestral. I think it was a past life thing, but that was one example. Right. Of the unlocking. And then there was other support that I got along the way, but support was the first thing. Outside support started showing up.
Yeah. Especially if you don't have support, like just in general, I feel like being in a program with people that are also in the same program, going through the same things, it just normalizes so much. I mean, I'm currently in a group right now, for a program that I'm going through, and just like, we are just doing it like old school, like WhatsApping. Cause I think there's like only 20 of us, and there's so many things that just get normalized, and just like normalizing of like, oh, I'm not alone. Oh, you went through this too? I thought I was the only one with those thoughts. Oh my God. And like, you just realize, oh my God, nothing is unique. Like, we're all having the same thoughts, the same worries, the same stresses. And it just helps us overcome that, to be like, okay, if he or she or they overcame that, then I can do it too. So I love that you brought that up, because very few people actually talk about like the community and the support. They're very focused more so on the tools. So I love that you brought up something different that, can be pointed out for anyone who is currently in a place where they feel alone, or they don't have support. They don't have friends. Maybe they have friends that are making fun of them. You know what I mean? Like, they feel like outcasts and outsiders. So I love that you brought that up. How has life changed for you, Missy, since the program? Because it's been like 6 months since it ended. I remember it ended in like June. And the reason why I remember that so clearly is because I was building it with year round as we kept going. So I was like working just as hard as you guys. And it ended in June. So it's been about 6 months. Like, what have been the shifts, the tangible shifts that have come out of it?
Kind of crazy stuff. So actually, I admit, when MBA ended, I was kind of a little bit disappointed, because I was like, I felt all those internal shifts, but I was like, I didn't really manifest anything. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, I don't know. Right. But literally 2 weeks after MBA, I got my 10K month. Like, yes. It's crazy.
Yes. I'm so happy for you.
But it wasn't just that. I also manifested health insurance. So like, okay. So also I quit my job. Okay. So many things. So yeah, I got my 10K month. I was able to quit television, and my husband. So this work radiates, because my husband wasn't in the program, but I would talk to him about all these things. And basically so the month that I finished MBA, he got his first big TV show, because he's a director of photography. So he got his first big TV show, which is what he was trying to manifest for like a couple of years. And also he got the health insurance. So I didn't have to get the health insurance. So that was like so crazy. I mean, just telling you.
Oh my God. That is so amazing. And I totally understand what you say. Like, here's the thing, is like, every round of MBA, you have like students who manifest things like the first week. And then they set like expectations for the other students and be like, oh my God, it's going to happen that quickly for me too. Okay. And then like the second group of students, they'll manifest like halfway through. And then there's always a group of students who they don't manifest until the program is over. And that has nothing to do with their abilities, their worthiness, or anything like that. It's just that there is a catch-up period. And when you're making, and it's actually correlated to the amount of internal shifts you're making. So Missy, you must have made a ton of internal shifts, like tons and tons and tons of them, because I know that like I'm going through a period right now where I'm essentially in limbo for a lot of things. There's so many things that I can feel are in the works, but it's like nothing shifting in the external world. And so I'm like, okay, like I'm just waiting. Like we're just going to keep doing our thing. And I'm just going to keep doing my mental, energetic, spiritual shifts. And it's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, and you have this experience where it's like, you do all this internal shifts and then you get like a boom. So Missy, you experienced a boom because it was right when you let go. So the program's over. So you have this break to allow everything to just assimilate into your consciousness. And then the universe goes, boom, here's all your manifestations. So to anyone who's listening, whether you are a past MBA student, present MBA student, or a brand new MBA student coming up, as we have enrollment open right now as we're speaking, just be open to the transformation of whatever transformation it is. There is a transformation coming, but really commit yourself to the internal game, the internal work that Missy has, because it's all going to work out. And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, oh my God, it did work. It did work.
And it's not just like this one-time thing, because that was like, boom. And then like from then till now, crazy other things have manifested. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it continues because you also give us the tools to continue working. Yeah. And once you unlock one thing, like I always say with energy healing, we're like an onion. So we take off that first layer and then the next layer comes up to be cleared. And then the next, so it's really an ongoing process. Yeah. And what I love about MBA is you give us the tools and the process to do that so we can keep coming back, keep clearing like whatever's showing up. And then those manifestations, they don't stop. They just keep going. Right. It's really crazy.
Yeah. I really do my best to empower my students to not be like codependent on me or codependent on MBA or rely on being attached to a mentor or a healer or something like that, because we're all self-healers. It's about being self-empowered. We all are the universe in human form. So it's great to have mentors. It's great to have tools. It's great to learn things from other people. But at the end of the day, it's like you have yourself and it's about you actually using those tools on yourself, right? So I do my best to empower my students for lifetimes. And that's why I give lifetime access, is not so I can just be like, oh, but we like forgot this one little thing that I'll teach you in the second level, right? So pay me more money, right? Like that's just not my vibe. I just want to equip you with everything and then empower you to keep coming back and keep retaking as much as you want for the same price as the one-time enrollment. Missy, let's say that you have a friend right now or someone you deeply care about, can be anybody in the world. They're listening to this podcast episode right now, and they're listening to your story and they're still on the fence. What is something that you can tell them that you know that they need to hear to jump off that fence and get inside of MBA? What would that be?
I would tell somebody that you're more powerful than you think, and that this is a very comprehensive, very in-depth, very supportive program that shows you a process for uncovering yourself, because underneath all that stuff is your full worth, all of your gifts, all of your talents, all the ways you can show up and light up the world. But we just need to get there, like clearing it off. And this is a very specific process to do that. So you're worth it. Anything would be worth that to change your life for the rest of your life. Have these tools. I mean, it's amazing. And it's real. So that's the other part, is like, I'm very practical, but I also have that mystical side. I feel like that you do too. And this program is that. It's science, it's real, and it taps into that mystical part. And that's amazing. So anybody can fit into this, to MBA.
It's woo-woo and spiritual, but it's definitely down to earth. That's how I describe myself, my teaching style. I don't float off way too far into the astral realms. I stay on earth for the most part. And also I love that you mentioned, like, you know, it's only your life that we're talking about here, right? It's only this one life, you know, so you might as well just give it your all. Missy, thank you so much for coming on here. I so enjoyed talking to you, hearing about your background, your story, your transformations. Where can people find you for your energy healing services and all the magic that you offer to the world? Do you have like Instagram, a website? What do you have going on?
Yeah. So you can find me on my website is missyenergyhealing.com. And I work privately, one-on-one in sessions. And I'm also have the doors will open in the spring to my energy healing membership, where we teach you energy tools. Cause that's my passion. It's like to make energy tools and energy work mainstream. So I want to give people the tools to do that. So that's my membership in the spring. You can sign up, get on the wait list for that. And then you can also download a free energy clearing meditation. And you can find me on Instagram. It's Missy Energy Healing.
Missy Energy Healing is so simple. I love it. And that's MISSY. And of course, all the links will be in the show notes as well. So you can get all the correct spellings and get yourself to the right place. Missy, I love you so much. You are such a bright light, such a beautiful soul. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the world. And thank you so much for all of your extremely kind feedback about MBA. And I am just so proud of the work that you've done to finally get to where it is that you want to go. And I know that there's so many, like my favorite phrase in the world, and I see this so true for so many people, and especially you, is that there is so much more out there for you. You've barely scratched the surface. And I'm just so excited to see where you're going.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your work. Thanks for having me. It's so exciting.
Yay. You. All right, you guys, you know where to go. ManifestationBabeAcademy.com. Doors are closing in just a couple of days. I cannot wait to see you in there. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following @ManifestationBabe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.